Hey, this is Austin, and today on the Points Unknown channel, I'm going to talk about how I have my Honda CRF450L set up with the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing, a phone mount so that I can utilize my phone for navigation, and USB power. I won't go through the detailed installation of the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing, but suffice to say it's a great piece of equipment and I've been really happy with it. The fairing attaches securely to the forked triple clamps and provides just a little bit of extra wind protection on the 450L. But the real benefit of the Mini Fairing is that it provides an excellent platform for mounting navigation equipment. The Mini Fairing comes with mounting brackets for some type of Garmin GPS, but I haven't bought a GPS specific device since 2009. Instead, I use old smartphones loaded with mapping apps from Google Maps, Maps.me, Avenza, and my current favorite, GaiaGPS. But in order to set up the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing with a phone mount required a little customization. Additionally, I installed a USB power socket, pulling power off the OEM accessory plug. Let's dig in and I'll show you what I did. For the phone mount, I'm using the GPS mounting bracket that came with the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing. But then I drilled up the center so I can attach an all-metal tripod mount for my phone navigation system. The reason I chose a tripod mount instead of any other mounting system is so that I could use a simple quarter 20 bolt to attach the phone mount to the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing. I picked up the phone tripod mount for about $25, and this worked out way better than I had expected, creating a very sturdy connection point to the Mini Fairing and gripping my phone in a solid way. For literally thousands of miles of off-pavement and off-road riding, this system has worked perfectly for me. Easy to get the phone on, easy to take the phone off, and totally solid while on the bike. To power my phone over the course of the day, I installed a standard waterproof 12-volt to USB socket into the provided mounting hole in the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing. I chose a cost-effective waterproof socket with 2 USB ports. These can get pretty fancy, with LED lights, displays that read voltage, and all kinds of other things that you don't really need. For me, that's just more stuff that can break, so I recommend just going with the simplest waterproof 12-volt to USB socket that you can find. Mounting the USB socket into the Mini Fairing is fairly trivial. It's clearly made for this. But wiring it up does require a little bit of electrical knowledge. To make things easy, the Honda CRF450L comes with a switched accessory power plug on the side of the bike. I believe it's a 10 amp circuit, but I'd still be careful about overloading it with too much. However, for me, USB power and my LED lights seem to be just fine on it so far. The accessory power plug is located on the left side of the bike under and adjacent to the fuel tank. It's a bit tougher to get to if you have an aftermarket tank, but once you pull off the left side plastics, it's fairly easy to find. Removing a few zip ties holding the wiring on will also improve access. The factory switched accessory power plug on the CRF450L is the Sumitomo HM090 2-pin connector. These are fairly specialty connectors that Honda often uses, and you can get them online at Cycle Terminal. However, I've grown tired of purchasing these connectors over the years. They aren't particularly cheap, and instead decided to chop off the factory Sumitomo connector and replace it with the more generic waterproof connector. I picked up a set of 10 waterproof connectors for around $10. I went ahead and cut off the Honda Sumitomo connector and wired in my own. This is a little challenging because there is not a lot of cable to work with in this location, so this may be a place where buying the Sumitomo connector could have saved a lot of frustration. But I went ahead and dealt with the consequences, and after a little bit of swearing it ultimately worked out fine. From the accessory power connection point on the left side of the bike, I ran my wires up under the fuel tank, across the cockpit, and up into the USB socket mounted on the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing. Connecting my plus wire to the labeled plus side and the minus wire to the minus connector on the 12-volt USB socket, and you're good to go. I complicated my installation a little bit by splitting the power at the fairing and wiring in auxiliary lights via a handlebar mounted switch, but that's details for another day. Once the 12-volt USB socket is wired up, it's ready to use. Plugged into the USB socket, I use a short 6-inch right-angle USB cable to provide power to my navigation phone. The right-angle USB cables are a little specialized, but they are so much better, being lower profile and short. This reduces the risk of getting the cable caught on something or having it torn off. It also looks really good on my navigation panel. And that's how I get robust navigation and USB power on my 2019 Honda CRF450L. I think this is a must-have addition to the bike, making it all the more adventure and exploration ready in a simple and cost-effective package. I've been super happy with my setup, and I would highly recommend it to anyone looking for a fairing and navigation system on their CRF450L. And with the phone mount, you're not locked into any specific platform or software, iPhone or Android, Google Maps or GaiaGPS, or whatever sweet mapping software comes next. It's all right at your fingertips. Thanks for watching this episode of Points Unknown TV. If you're stoked for learning about the Adventure Spec Mini Fairing, the phone mount navigation on your CRF450L, please hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, please don't hesitate to subscribe. I try to make videos monthly about motorcycles, motorcycle rides, camping, and exploring. And I hope I have helped in some small way to inspire your next adventure. Thanks for watching.